What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Vegas 49. We have Bobby Green going against Islam Makhachev.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
And we are back for another breakdown here this week. 12-fight card. Bobby Green stepping in on short notice. He just fought like 2 weeks ago. Short notice. Islam Makhachev here. Should be a very fun main event on a card that it definitely lacks a lot in terms of the name value, but I do think there are some exciting fights on the card. I'm looking forward to Ziam, Terrence McKinney. They're going to be looking to fight this week, and then I'm also looking forward to Joel Alvarez going against Arman Tsarukyan. So we do have some very good fights on the card. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to breaking it down. Looking forward to hopefully bouncing back from last week. Did snap a 6-event winning streak in terms of the bets. The picks were okay, went 8-4, but definitely could be better, and hopefully will be better this week for UFC Vegas 49. Feeling pretty good about the card. Again, it's a low-level card, but I do think it has potential here. So before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, it's always much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you are not already. I'll be going live on Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, as always, after the weigh-ins, and then also Saturday, once more, 1 hour prior to when the prelims start. If you do want extra content, be sure to check out DFS by the Numbers. Almost 150 members of you on there, so appreciate you all of you on there. But without further ado, I say we get into this fight card and break down some fights here. So we have the very first fight of the night. We have Carlos Hernandez going against Victor Altamirano. We have Carlos Hernandez, who is 28 years old, 5'8", with a 67-inch reach, 7-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Victor Altamirano, 31 years old, 5'8", with a 70.5-inch reach, 10-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So Hernandez is going to be 3 years younger, but he will be at a 3.5-inch reach disadvantage. We'll take a look at the odds here, and so Altamirano actually opened up a favorite. He opened up -150. He's currently sitting as a +113 dog, and Hernandez opened up as a +130 dog, and he's currently sitting as a -133 favorite. So the line kind of flipped there. I think this is a very close fight. I think it is lined about appropriate. Honestly, it could be lined even closer. Carlos Hernandez is a guy that I really like his striking, and on top of that, I think he has solid grappling. I don't like the offensive wrestling. He went 0 for 8 on takedowns on the Contender Series, and I have seen him get 1 takedown in the 4 or 5 fights that I did watch, and when he was on top, he did look very good. And then on the Contender Series as well, although he was 0 for 8 on takedowns, it was not counted as a takedown, but his opponent hurt him, and then he kind of like pushed over his opponent, got on top, and when he was on top, he did have a lot of success. So I kind of think in this matchup for Hernandez, he's going to want to get it down to the mat. I don't think he's like at a big disadvantage on the feet. I just feel like that's where his biggest strength is going to be at in a fight like this, and that's going to be on the mat against Victor Altamirano, who is, I think his takedown defense is a huge liability. Like, this guy got taken down 5 times on the Contender Series. I went back and watched some of his other fights, and he's getting taken down, and it's not, the biggest deal that he's getting taken down. It's just how easy he's getting taken down. Like, he just looks like he's falling over. He's accepting those takedowns, and he's way too comfortable off his back. So that's why I'm thinking Hernandez, although he's not the best offensive wrestler by any means, if he does go for takedowns, there's a very good chance that he probably could get him here. And if he can get on top, I think he could win minutes there. But yeah, on the feet, it's very close. I love the volume of Altamirano. Don't really like the striking defense. He did have a 48% striking defense in his fight on the Contender Series. And by the way, that was the fight on the Contender Series where both guys got a contract. I think that was the very first time where both guys got a contract. Dana did score it for the other guy. I personally scored it for the other guy as well. I thought that Carlos did win rounds 1 and 2, lost the 3rd round, but Dana took both guys in. So yeah, it's a close fight. Like I said, I just feel like Hernandez can mix in the wrestling, use his grappling, win minutes on the mat, but on the feet, it's very, very competitive. So I get why the line's close, but I will ultimately side with Carlos Hernandez to win a very close decision here. All right. Ramiz Brahimaj going against Michael Gilmore. This fight should be very hilarious. We have Ramiz Brahimaj, 29 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach, 9-4 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Michael Gilmore, 34 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach, 6-4 and 2-3 in his 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds. And Ramiz Brahimaj is a big favorite, and I believe he is the second biggest favorite on the card, right behind Islam Makhachev. But he opened up minus 400, and he's currently minus 350. Michael Gilmore opened up plus 330, and he's currently plus 275. So a big favorite here in Brahimaj, and I get it. I definitely get it. But I would be very careful here at Brahimaj. Ramiz Brahimaj is kind of like an Abdulrazak Alassane, who Alassane has won by one method in one round only, and that was the first round and by knockout. Same thing with Ramiz Brahimaj. This is a guy that he's only won one way. He has not won by knockout. He has not won by decision. He has not won in the second round. He's not won in the third round. He's actually 0-4 in fights that reach the second round. And that's terrifying, laying minus 350 on a guy like that. And on top of that, Ramiz Brahimaj is a guy that he slows down a lot as the fight goes on, especially in fights where he's wrestling. So if he does not get that early submission, he's going to slow down. So if you're going to bet Ramiz Brahimaj, there's definitely a way to bet him, and that's going to be first round submission. Again, he's never won by knockout. He's never won outside of the first round. So it's safe to say if Ramiz Brahimaj does win, it will be in first round by submission. And I think that's what's going to happen here. So the cardio is a concern for Brahimaj. And on top of that, he's coming in on short notice. That's a concern. But Michael Gilmore, he's just not UFC caliber at all. He came in replacement on the Ultimate Fighter. He got submitted in the first round against Gilbert Urbina. Just did not have anything to offer on the mat as well. And this is a guy in Gilmore who's been finished in all 4 of his losses, 3 of them coming by submission, and that's not counting the Ultimate Fighter fight where he did get submitted as well. So the takedown defense is just non-existent. The get-up game's non-existent. The grappling defense is non-existent. I get why Brahimaj is a big favorite. Brahimaj's grappling is legit. His wrestling is absolutely legit. It's just the cardio, short notice. What happens if Gilmore was to survive that first round? It could get bad very, very fast, but you got to go Brahimaj here. I think Brahimaj takes down Michael Gilmore within the first 30 seconds and then submits him shortly after. I just think he's the much better fighter. I'm not extremely high on Brahimaj. I kind of was a few fights ago when he was going into his debut against Max Griffin, but he did show very poor fight IQ in that fight. And I guess that could be another thing to worry about is the fight IQ of Brahimaj. Went in there against Max Griffin, shot 0 takedowns when he's literally only won by submission. So it's just a big pass for me. Minus 350 on a guy like Brahimaj, who is literally round 1 or bust on short notice, is pretty terrifying. But I think he is honestly the much better fighter and should win by submission. Give me Ramiz Brahimaj to win. Give me Ramiz Brahimaj to win by submission. All right. Next, we have Jonathan Martinez going against Alejandro Perez. We have Martinez, 27 years old, 5'8", with a 69.5-inch reach, 14-4, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Perez, 32 years old, 5'6", with a 67-inch reach, 22-8-1, and 3-1 in his last 5 fights. So Martinez is going to be 5 years younger. Martinez is going to have a 2-inch height advantage, and Martinez is going to have a 2.5-inch reach advantage. We'll talk about the stats a little bit, as I do think they're kind of important for this fight, but we'll talk about the line first. We see that Martinez opened up minus 210. He's currently minus 225, and Perez opened up plus 180. He is currently plus 190. But yeah, back to these stats here. So I really like the striking of Jonathan Martinez. This is a guy that looks to be making massive improvements really every time we see the guy. And he's only 27 years old, and he's training at a very good camp as well. So I think we're only going to keep seeing those improvements for Jonathan Martinez here. But I really like the volume. He mixes it up really well on the feet. He lands 4.53 significant strikes per minute with a 46% accuracy, and he does absorb 3.86 significant strikes per minute with a positive 0.67 significant strike differential and a 58% striking defense. Perez, a little more low volume, does land 3.45 significant strikes per minute with a 35% accuracy. So, Jonathan Martinez is much more accurate, and Perez is absorbing 2.97 significant strikes per minute with a positive 0.48 significant strike differential, and Perez has a 63% striking defense. So going into the takedown stats, and, this is a spot where at times I really question the fight IQ of Perez, because I feel like in some fights he really should be going for takedowns. And even in his last fight against Johnny Eduardo, I feel like he probably should have went for takedowns in the first round, but it took him a while to actually go for a takedown. And once he got that takedown, he got it easy, first of all, and then he submitted Eduardo shortly after. But it's not really part of Alejandro Perez's game. He's landed half a takedown per 15 minutes, a 23% accuracy. And I don't know if he's going to be able to take down Martinez consistently, or I really don't even know if he's going to try. I think Perez in his entire UFC career has something like 6 takedowns, and I just don't think that's going to cut it in a matchup like this. So Martinez has shown that he has very good takedown defense, and he has a very good get-up game, and he actually has a very underrated ground game as well. So I think this fight is primarily going to play out on the feet, and at that point, I got to favor Martinez, and honestly, quite a bit. I really did not like what I saw from Perez in his last fight at all against Johnny Eduardo. Johnny Eduardo is, I think, like 44 years old or 45, and he went out there off of a 2.5-year layoff. Maybe it was the layoff, but his style looked like completely different. He was doing this weird movement and just not throwing anything, and he landed 12 strikes in that first round against Eduardo. Eduardo landing 20, so he's getting outlanded by a 45-year-old Johnny Eduardo, and then ultimately, Johnny Eduardo gasses out like always. Perez takes him down, and then he submits him. But Eduardo even took down Perez at one point. So, I just did not like what I saw on the feet for Perez. And if he shows up and looks like that on the feet against Jonathan Martinez, I think Martinez is going to just pick him apart easily, potentially knock him out. Martinez has a lot of tools on the feet. The flying knee that he hit Frankie Saenz with like 3 times and it finally put him out. I just really like what I see from Martinez. And again, he's young. He's the younger fighter. He's going to be improving. He's at a very good camp, and he's training with great guys. So, I got to go Martinez here. I don't know what it is with Perez. Is he on a decline? Was it the layoff? But, he was on a 2-fight losing streak, takes a couple-year layoff. He comes back and just doesn't look good. I know he got the finish win, but again, a 45-year-old Johnny Eduardo, who's a gasser and has been submitted a million times. So I like Martinez here, and honestly quite a bit. I think Martinez is going to win, and I will say he wins by decision. So give me decision win for Jonathan Martinez. All right. We have Jin Yu Fry going against Hannah Goldy. Jin Yu Fry, 36 years old, 5'3", with a 65-inch reach, 11-6 and 3-2. In her last 5 fights, Hannah Goldy, 29 years old, 5'4", with a 61-inch reach, 6-2 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. So it's not too often you're going to see Fry with a reach advantage, but she will have a 4-inch reach advantage here. But she will be at a 1-inch height disadvantage, and then also Goldy's going to be 7 years younger. We'll take a look at the odds, and Fry opened up -125. She's currently -180. Goldy opened up +105. She's currently +155. So I do want to look into the stats on this one again, as I do think they're very important. So Jin Yu Fry, she's so low volume. She lands 2.86 significant strikes per minute with a 44% accuracy, and she's absorbing 4.06 with a negative significant strike differential of 1.2. And then she has a 52% striking defense. Whereas Goldy, she's definitely not the better striker. Fry is definitely the better striker, but at least with Goldy, she's going to throw, and she's going to throw a lot. Goldy's landing 6.05 significant strikes per minute with a 47% accuracy, absorbing 4.85 significant strikes per minute with a positive 1.2 significant strike differential and a 50% striking defense. Keep going into these striking numbers as I do think they're important. You take a look at Jin Yu Fry in her 4 fights, just so low volume. Like it's really concerning. Against Kay Hansen, Jin Yu Fry lands 26 significant strikes in a fight that went halfway into the 3rd round. Against Luma Lukbumi in a fight that literally played out on the feet for like 90% of the fight, she lands 26 significant strikes in a 15-minute fight. Against Gloria DePaula, she lands 24 significant strikes in a 15-minute fight. And then against Ashley Yoder, she lands 88, but she actually gets outlanded by Ashley Yoder, the grappler. Like, that's a huge red flag to me. She looked better in terms of the volume, but still, she gets outlanded by Ashley Yoder. In the first round, they both landed 28. In the second round, Yoder outlanded her by 3, and then in the third round, they both landed 25. And I know that she clearly won the fight. She was landing the harder shots, the better shots, but still, getting outlanded by Yoder in terms of the volume is not good, and I can almost guarantee that Goldy's probably going to outvolume her here as well. This is kind of what scares me in this fight, because I am picking Goldy, because I do like the volume of Goldy. I don't think she's the best fighter, but I really don't think Fry's the best fighter at all. What worries me is if Fry comes in here and fights smart and gets us down to the mat. Jinyu Fry lands 0.78 takedowns per 15 minutes, so less than a takedown, and has a 37% accuracy, and Goldy does have a 50% takedown defense. That is the one area where I think Fry, if she was smart, she could win minutes. She took down Luma Lukbumi in her fight. She was only able to hold Luma down for about a minute or so, and then she did take down Gloria DePaula 2 times in their fight, and she actually controlled DePaula for 9 minutes and 33 seconds. So I think that's kind of the path to victory for Jinyu Fry. On the feet, I think she'll be landing the better shots, but she's just so low volume. It's a close fight. It really is. I feel like Fry, I get why she's the favorite. She's more experienced. She's fought the better competition by a mile. She's the more skilled fighter, but she doesn't do a lot for me. And if she comes in here and doesn't go for takedowns, or if Goldy's able to stuff the takedowns, keep it on the feet, I feel like Goldy can definitely win a decision just based off of doing more. And on top of that, it's not like Jinyu Fry is some young new prospect. She's 36 years old, which is extremely old for 115 pounds. So, and she's almost 37 as well, whereas Goldy, she's 29. Such a low-level fight here, but I'm actually going to take the dog here, and Goldy, a very unpopular pick, but I think she's going to stuff the takedowns for the most part, keep it on the feet, and just throw volume. She throws a lot, and I think that could be enough to win a fight like this. So give me Goldy for the win, but you can't be confident in a fight like this. Goldy by decision. All right, we have a banger here. We have Fares Ziam going against Terrence McKinney. This one should be good. A fight we were supposed to see a couple months ago. Forget exactly what happened, but the fight is going to be going on here for UFC Vegas 49, so looking forward to it. We have Fares Ziam, who's 24 years old, 6'1", with a 75-inch reach, 12-3, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Terrence McKinney, 27 years old, 5'10", with a 74-inch reach, 11-3, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So let's look at the odds. And McKinney opened up -110. Currently a +109 dog, and then Fares Ziam opened up -110. He's currently a -129 favorite. I'm curious to see what the odds were last time out. They were supposed to fight back in November of 2021, and it looks like McKinney opened up -180, and then it looked like they closed around a pick'em. So, Fares Ziam, slight favorite as of now, and I do expect that line to probably close up as the week goes on. But this is a banger of a fight. I think that a sneaky path to victory for Terrence McKinney is going to be the wrestling game. I think a lot of people expect for a Terrence McKinney win is going to be him coming out here and starching Fares Ziam, which it could happen, but you take a look at McKinney and watch him throughout his career. This guy was a wrestler in high school, a very good wrestler in high school, and I believe he wrestled in college as well. And I went back and watched some of his fights on the Contender Series against Sean Woodson, who, as we know, Sean Woodson, very long, very lengthy, very hard to take down, and very hard to hold down. He was able to take down Woodson in the first round and control him that whole first round. Looked very good. And then the second round comes along, he takes down Woodson again. He's able to control him a little bit, and then he gasses out a little bit. He slows down. He stands at range with Woodson, and Woodson knocks him out. And that's the kind of the concern with McKinney. I think this guy's very skilled everywhere. I think on the feet, Fares Ziam's the better striker. He's definitely more technical, but McKinney is going to be coming forward. He's going to be dangerous. And then on the mat, I think McKinney has extremely underrated grappling. I think his wrestling is top-notch, and there's no doubt in my mind that he can come out here and take down Ziam and get opportunities for an early finish. It's just as the fight goes on, what is McKinney's gas tank going to look like? This is a guy that's never seen the scorecards in 14 professional fights. 100% finish rate, and believe it or not, he actually has more submissions on his record than knockouts. I know a lot of people think of him as this big power guy, and he is, but this guy's a good grappler. He really is. 55% submission rate for McKinney, 45% by knockout, and he has been knocked out twice in his career as well. So yeah, that's a concern, and he also has been submitted once. Ziam has been finished in 2 of his 3 losses, and 2 of those are coming by submission. So, he can get submitted, and he can be taken down. You take a look at Ziam in his career thus far in the UFC, makes his debut against Dom Madge, and Dom Madge went out there and took down Fares Ziam 3 times and controlled him for 9 minutes and 37 seconds of that fight. In his next fight against Jamie Mullarkey takes him down 5 times, and by the way, I thought Mullarkey won that fight. A lot of people did, and he controls Fares Ziam for almost half the fight, 7 minutes. And then Luigi Vandermini gets him down in that 3rd round, looks very good. But I will say Ziam's takedown defense did look a lot better in that Vandermini fight, but I think that, McKinney's a much, much better wrestler than Vandermini. It's not even close. So Yeah, I think McKinney's going to have paths to victory here, whether it's knocking Ziam out on the feet. But I think the easiest path is just taking down Ziam, looking for that submission ground and pound. But when this fight does get extended, that's when I do have some concerns about the cardio. So it's a tough fight to call. I get why it's closely lined here. But I'm going to take McKinney here to get a first-round submission. But if this fight gets into the second round, maybe it's a good live betting opportunity because I don't think that McKinney can, especially if he's wrestling, I don't think McKinney can keep up a wrestling heavy game plan for 3 rounds. So that's why I'm not overconfident in it, but I will take McKinney to get the slight upset, going with another dog here, slight dog in Terrence McKinney. All right, looking forward to this one, right? We have Josiane Nunes going against Ramona Pascual. We have Josiane Nunes, 28 years old, 5'2", with a 67-inch reach, 8-1 and 5-0 in her last 5 fights. Ramona Pascual, she is 33 years old, 5'7", with a 66-inch reach, 6-2 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. This fight, scares the crap out of me in terms of betting it. It's a fight I do want to stay far away from. Josiane Nunes opened up -175, and she's currently -220. Pascual opened up +150, and she's currently +185. So I dug into this fight a little bit last night. Wasn't able to find a ton. I was able to watch like a fight and a couple highlights. I was able to dig in a little bit more today and, watch more of Ramona Pascual, find out a little bit more about what she's about. And, she's a Muay Thai fighter, has a Muay Thai background. You can definitely see it in her fights, especially as of late. I did go back and watch a fight from like 2018, and she didn't look good. She was very, very hittable. She kind of gassed out. She got reversed on the mat and pounded out. Looks like she kind of quit in there, but she has moved to Syndicate MMA as of late, and you go back and watch some of her latest fights, and she looks like a completely different fighter, than she had, say 2017, 2018. She looks a lot better. So I'm still just trying to figure out, how good is Ramona Pascual? Because we don't know. Like, you take a look at her record, and she's fighting the bottom of the barrel in terms of competition. And Nunes isn't much better, but at least Nunes has fought in the UFC against Bay Malecki. Nunes has fought Tyler Santos, but you take a look at, Pascual's competition, and she has a win over an 0-2 fighter, a win over an 0-0 fighter, a win over an 0-0 fighter, a win over a 4-5 fighter, a win just in 2021 of June against an 0-0 fighter by a key lock armbar, and then just recently beats a 2-0 fighter. So this competition is like the bottom of the barrel, but she looks good. She looks better, and she's huge. She's huge. She's going to be the bigger fighter in this fight, and this fight's going to be at 145 pounds, which is nuts, considering that Josiane Nunes, she's 5'2", and I honestly think she's lying about her height, because you watch some of her fights, she's not like 5'2", she looks like 4'9". So she's very, very small. And there are some red flags with Nunes. I have seen her taken down, I have seen her stuck off on her back, and I have seen her gas out. So this is a very, very sketchy fight. I don't know enough about Ramona Pascual to feel comfortable about it. Yes, she's looking good, but she's looking good against, the bottom of the barrel in terms of competition. But Nunes, I got to give it to her. She looked really good against Bay Malecki. Yes, it's Bay Malecki, but she was coming forward. She was throwing very hard. She was aggressive, and she did have a full camp for this fight, whereas Ramona, she is coming in on short notice. It's a weird fight. Like, this is a very weird fight, but I do like the power of Nunes, and I do think she can finish Pascual here. But I don't know. Pascual training at Syndicate, she could be leveling up, because I think she started MMA like really late. I want to say she had a Muay Thai background, and she started MMA like just a couple years ago. So she could be making these massive improvements. I really don't know. Yeah, it's a sketchy fight. I'm going to take Nunes to come out here and knock out Ramona. This is going to be Ramona's toughest competition by like a mile. So I'll take Nunes for the knockout, but it's a tough one. It's a weird one. So give me Nunes for the win by first round knockout. All right, next we have Ignacio Bahamondes going against Rong. We have Ignacio Bahamondes, who is 24 years old, 6'3", with a 75.5-inch reach, 12-4, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Rong, 21 years old, 5'9", with a 71-inch reach, 18-4, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds, and we see that Bahamondes is a decent-sized favorite. He opened up -260 He's now minus 225. And Rong Zhu opened up plus 220, and he is now plus 190. So it looks like some money's coming in on Rong Zhu. And I can kind of understand why. I was really impressed with Ignacio Bahamondes in his fight against Roosevelt Roberts. This is a guy that I kind of had question marks in terms of, what does this guy's takedown defense look like? What does his ground game look like against a legit grappler in Roosevelt Roberts? And I think he, answered all those questions for me because he went out there and his takedown defense looked insane. Like, this guy's very long, very rangy. His takedown defense was, unbelievable. Roosevelt Roberts went like 0 for 12? 0 for 12 on takedowns in their fight. He showed great balance. He was doing all the right things in terms of stuffing the takedowns. So, this is a guy in Bahamondes who can keep fights on the feet. Like, this is going to be a problem. He's going to be a serious problem for a lot of guys. Rong Zhu is an interesting fighter. This is a guy that's only 21 years old, which is pretty crazy considering this guy is 21 and he has 22 fights. So he's been fighting, I think, since he was like 17 or 18. And, he's a solid wrestler. He showed it off in his last fight against Brandon Jenkins where, I think a lot of people were kind of writing off Rong Zhu after his debut against Casula Vargas because it really wasn't a good look. He didn't look ready for the spotlight there. He kind of did not throw much up until like the third round. He finally got going. He was able to get 3 takedowns in the Vargas fight. He was able to get 6 takedowns in the Jenkins fight. Looked much better, but that is Brandon Jenkins here. On the feet, I like Bahamondes here, and I like him quite a bit. Like, this is a guy that throws a ton of volume. He's landing over 7.5 significant strikes per minute in his 2-fight sample here, and on top of that, he's throwing like 17 strike attempts per minute. So the volume is definitely in favor of Bahamondes, whereas Rong Zhu, he was getting outlanded pretty cleanly against Casula Vargas at range. At distance in their fight against Casula Vargas, who's obviously not the best fighter in the world. At distance, Vargas outlanded him 94-40. 94-40. Like, that's not good. I just don't see him winning a fight that takes place on the feet against Bahamondes. I really don't. And then on top of that, like, is Rong Zhu going to be able to take down Bahamondes? Maybe, but I just really liked what I saw from the takedown defense of Bahamondes. So, yeah, I like Bahamondes to win here. I like Bahamondes to win probably by decision. Both of these guys are very, very tough. Both of these guys have never been knocked out, I don't believe, and I don't really think that changes here. So I'm going to take Bahamondes to win, and I'm going to take Bahamondes to win by decision. All right, next we have a fun fight. This honestly should be a very fun fight. We have Gregory Rodrigues going against Arman Petrosyan. We have Rodrigues, who is 30 years old, 6'3", with a 76-inch reach, 11-3 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Arman Petrosyan, he is 31 years old, 6'2", with a 71-inch reach, 6-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and we see that Rodrigues opened up minus 200. He is now minus 155. Petrosyan opened up plus 170, and he is currently plus 135. I feel like Petrosyan is going to be a very popular dog this week, and rightfully so. I mean, this is a very close fight and a very tough fight to call as well. You take a look at Petrosyan, and I guess what sticks out to me the most is this guy's takedown defense is a huge liability. Like, it's awful. He gets taken down. This is how every Petrosyan fight plays out. His opponent comes in, he takes him down multiple times, easy, or holds him against the cage for a whole round, minutes at a time, and then his opponent gasses out, and then he ultimately finishes them at range. And literally, I went and watched like almost all his fights, and every single fight, besides the one he got knocked out in the first round, plays out like that. Like, he gets taken down so easy, and that kind of scares me in a fight like this against Rodrigues, who Rodrigues is no joke on the mat. Like, this guy's ground game is top-notch, a legit black belt in BJJ. We don't get to see his grappling as much as you'd really like to see in terms of MMA, but he does go to it, and he did go to it in his debut against Dusko Todorovic. Todorovic is a black belt. He took him down like 3 times, and then also in his last fight against Jung Young Park, we saw that he went in there and took down Park, multiple times, took him down twice, was able to control him the whole first round, took his back at one point. Park was able to survive, and then he takes him down again in the second round. So I think, Rodrigues, if I'm Rodrigues here, first of all, I like his striking a lot. I like his volume a lot. I think he's very well-rounded. But if I'm Rodrigues, I'm taking down Petrosyan, early. And Petrosyan, I have question marks about the grappling. He is training at ATT. He has been training out there. I want to say recently moved to ATT, so he's working on it. He's working on his takedown defense because he knows it's horrible. It definitely needs work, but at range, Petrosyan is a serious problem. This guy's no joke. Very good kicks, power in his hands, and Rodrigues has been knocked out several times, including a knockout loss to Jordan Williams, which has aged horribly on the Contender Series. So it's simple as this. If I'm Rodrigues, I'm taking the fight down to the mat. I'm trying to get him out of there with a submission. If Petrosyan is able to survive that first round and a half, I don't like the gas tank of Rodrigues. So I think Rodrigues, for him to win, it's going to have to be early on. And I think Petrosyan, he's just going to have to survive early. So I feel like I get why money's coming in on Petrosyan. I feel like this fight should be closer to a pick'em. Either Rodrigues gets him down early and submits him, or Petrosyan does what he always does, survives the first couple minutes. Rodrigues slows down, gasses out, and then at range, I think Petrosyan's going to have opportunities. But it's a tough fight to call. For me, I am going to pick. I don't know. It's a tough one. I'll pick Rodrigues. I'll pick Rodrigues. I don't love it, but I'm going to take Rodrigues to get the fight down to the mat. I think he can get takedowns whenever he wants, and I think his ground game is on an elite level to the point where I think one takedown could very well be all it takes to submit Petrosyan. But we'll see what happens. Give me Rodrigues to win, and give me Rodrigues to win by a first round submission. Very, very good fight there. Speaking of very good fight, this is probably my favorite fight on the entire card, outside of the main event. This fight's going to be a very fun one. We have Arman Tsarukyan going against Joel Alvarez, and this one's going to be great. So we'll start with Arman Tsarukyan here. We have Arman Tsarukyan, who is 25 years old, 5'7" with a 72.5-inch reach, 17-2, and he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Joel Alvarez, 28 years old, 6'3" with a 77-inch reach, 19-2. And 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So let's talk about the tail of the tape, because this is something that really sticks out. So, first of all, both these guys are very young, especially Tsarukyan. I remember when Tsarukyan made his debut on short notice against Islam Makhachev. The dude was 21 or 22 years old and made a very good account for himself. But 25 years old for Tsarukyan. And then on top of that, Joel Alvarez only 28 years old in his own right. But what really sticks out is going to be the fact that Alvarez is going to have a massive 8-inch height advantage. You can't ignore that. That's nuts. Alvarez is also going to have a 4.5-inch reach advantage. On top of that, Alvarez has actually missed weight in his last 2 fights. So I'm curious to see if he does miss weight in this fight, because this guy is huge, absolutely huge for the division. He's literally, 6'3", 155 pounds. That's nuts. So, is he going to make weight? I'm not sure. If I had to guess, I'd probably lean towards no, honestly. But hopefully he proves me wrong and does make weight. But, just the tail of the tape, it really sticks out here in this fight. Alvarez is going to be huge. He's going to, at the weigh-ins, at the face-offs, he's going to look maybe 2 or 3 weight classes bigger. Thiago Moises is not a small guy at all. And Alvarez was towering over him. Did not look like they're in the same weight class, and they're not. Alvarez probably should move up a weight class at this point because he keeps missing weight. We'll see if he makes it here, though. But we'll take a look at the odds, and I'm on Best Fight Odds. I'm not sure why they don't have it on the event, but they do have it on the future events for some reason. But this line movement is crazy. So Tsarukyan opens up -175. He drops instantly to -375, and money's been pouring in on Alvarez the last 24 hours. It was just last night where he was -300 Tsarukyan, and now Tsarukyan is only -225. Alvarez opened up +150, jumped all the way up instantly to +310. He's back to +190. So lots of love for Alvarez here, and I'm kind of shocked. And the reason I'm shocked, I thought I would be on an island with Alvarez here. I thought it'd be maybe a hot take this week because I do like the Alvarez side, but it looks like a lot of people are on it, which honestly kind of scares me. But we'll talk about why I do like Alvarez, but I really like both of these guys, and I think both these guys have a ton of upside. And again, both these guys are very long. But the reason why I do like Alvarez in this fight, This is a very tricky guy. First of all, he's huge, 6'3", 77-inch reach. He's probably going to miss weight. He's going to have a weight advantage. And on top of that, like this guy, I'm still trying to figure out who he is. Like this is a guy that has finished 100% of his wins. He has an 84% submission rate. So I kind of thought of this guy as a grappler. And I heard an interview with him, and he's talking about how he's a striker. He's a striker, and I'm like, what? And then he goes out against Thiago Moises, and yes, this guy's a striker as well. He went out there and destroyed Thiago Moises. His striking was the best I've seen. And then I go back and look at some of his fights, before the Moises fight. I'm like, okay, his striking is very solid, but the dude leveled up. His striking looked pretty solid against Joe Duffy. He was throwing really hard leg kicks that kind of made Duffy, shooting for a takedown and submitted him. Same thing with Yakovlev. He was, looking good on the feet early on. Yakovlev shoots the takedown, submits him, and that's kind of the game of Alvarez. On the feet, he wants to strike with people. He's not going to try to take you down. He's going to try to hurt you on the feet, and then if you shoot in for a takedown, he's going to submit you. This is a guy, again, he's dangerous on the feet. He's dangerous on the mat. He's dangerous anywhere the fight goes. On the feet, I think Tsarukyan's a very good striker. I think his striking's coming along, but I like the length of Alvarez, and if he looks like anything like he did in the Moises fight, I like Alvarez on the feet. Again, he's going to be so much bigger, and he's dangerous on the feet. Tsarukyan, this guy's wrestling is top-notch. He's going to go for takedowns, a lot of them. He has the cardio to do so. It's just when he is going for takedowns, he's going to be playing right into Alvarez's game here. Alvarez is very dangerous off his back, multiple submissions off his back, and Alvarez has a 0% takedown defense, which means he wants you to take him down. So, Tsarukyan, if he wants takedowns, and I'm sure he's going to want takedowns here, he's going to get them with little to no resistance at all. So it's just, can Tsarukyan stay on top for 15 minutes and stay safe and not get submitted? And I don't know. I think Alvarez is going to have opportunities in this fight for a finish. I get why Tsarukyan's the favorite. And again, I thought this would be like a hot take. I thought I'd be on an island on this one, but the line is coming in very, very fast. I'm curious to see where it does, land, but I'll take Alvarez to, whether it's a knockout on the feet, Tsarukyan has been knocked out before, or whether it is a submission off his back. Maybe he can get a reversal, get on top, but Alvarez is so dangerous. He's improving. He's leveling up each time, and I feel like he's going to have opportunities here to finish. So give me Alvarez here. I was going to say as a big dog, but he's not a big dog anymore, and the line just keeps coming down. So we'll see what happens. Give me Joel Alvarez to win. I'll say he wins by, knockout, but submission makes sense as well. I'll just say Alvarez to win inside the distance. But yeah, this fight's phenomenal. This is my favorite fight on the card. But yeah, give me Joel Alvarez to win inside the distance. All right. This is also one of my favorite fights. We have the return of Priscila Cachoeira beating, a.k.a. Priscila Cachoeira cheating. Gave her that new nickname after she did miss weight to gain an unfair advantage in her last fight against Jillian Robertson. It was clear as day what she was doing. Robertson wanted to take her down. Priscila came in overweight. Didn't even look like she attempted to cut that weight. And that's where she got the nickname Cachoeira cheating. And then on top of that, in her fight against Robertson, she was grabbing the cage. She was trying to gouge out the eyes of Jillian Robertson. And honestly, I am surprised that she was not cut after that, because that was not good at all. So, but she's back, and I'm happy she's back. I like breaking down Priscila Cachoeira beating fights. I think they're always very fun to watch, very funny to talk about, and this should be a very, very hilarious fight. But we'll start with Yeon Kim. She is 32 years old, 5'7" with a 72-inch reach, 9-4, and she is 2-3 in her last 5 fights. Priscila Cachoeira cheating. She is 33 years old, 5'7", 65-inch reach, 10-4, and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. So Yeon Kim, 1 year younger, and then Kim's going to have a 7-inch reach advantage, which is very important to note. We'll take a look at the odds, and it looks like Yeon Kim is a decent-sized favorite here. Yeon Kim, she opened up minus 200. She's currently minus 170, and Priscila Cachoeira cheating, she opened up plus 170, and she is currently plus 145. So a little bit of money coming in on Priscila Cachoeira beating here. But I guess I do want to go on some stats here in this fight, as I do think they're very important. Again, this fight, is on the main card, which honestly shocks me. Like, it really surprises me that this fight is on the main card. This is very, very low level, but I like this fight. I'm probably one of the very few people that actually do like this fight. Jin Kim, there's not a lot of great things about her, or really either of these fighters, but the great thing about Jin Kim is, for one, she's long. She's going to have that 7-inch reach, and two, she throws a ton of volume. She lands 5.04 significant strikes per minute, and she's attempting a lot as well. So, she's active in throwing strikes. I think she attempts like over 15 strikes per minute, but she's not landing a ton. She has like a 34% striking accuracy, which I think is like the second worst I've ever seen in the UFC. Jin Kim, she absorbs 5.47 significant strikes per minute, so she does have a negative significant strike differential of 0.43, which again is not good. But she does have a 56% striking defense, which is really good in this matchup, considering we'll talk about Priscila's striking numbers, and these are probably the worst you'll see. Priscila, she lands 3.82 significant strikes per minute with a 41% accuracy, so a little lower volume, but this is what's big here. Priscila catch a beating, and this is where she kind of got that nickname. She absorbs 6.97 significant strikes per minute. That's about 7 strikes per minute she's absorbing, with a negative 3.15 significant strike differential. That means her opponents are outlanding her on average, over 3 strikes per minute. That's unheard of. I've never seen anything like that. On top of that, she has a 40% striking defense. So, Kim's going to throw a lot of volume. She's going to have that 7-inch reach. Anything that Kim throws, it's probably going to land, because Priscila doesn't know what striking defense is. They call her the zombie girl for a reason. They call her catch a beating for a reason, because she can definitely catch a beating and keep coming forward. She's very tough. So the striking numbers for both fighters really are bad, are very bad. And then we don't have to worry about the grappling. Neither fighter has completed a takedown in their UFC career. Kim has a 40% takedown defense, but I do think she's kind of patching that hole up in her game a little bit. But I think this fight's going to primarily play standing, and I gotta go with Jin Kim, I guess. I think the 7 inches is huge. She's the more defensively sound, at least with Kim. She's not going to block punches with her face. Priscila is very tough. Both these fighters are very, very tough. Both fighters have never been knocked out. Priscila, probably the harder hitter, but Kim has some power as well. Give me the more defensively sound Kim, but this is as low level as it gets, really. I mean, I'm shocked it's on the main card, but this fight should be fun. But and I thought about initially picking Cachoeira to win by knockout, but she's very tough, very, very tough. So give me Kim to win, just based off of some volume, based off of better defensive tendencies. But this is a very weird fight. But I'll take Jin Kim. It sucks going against my girl, catch a cheating, but I think Kim gets it done here. All right, Kim by decision. All right, now we have the co-main event, which I feel like the co-main event very well could have been the Arman Tsarukyan, Joe Alvarez fight. But we have Misha Cirkunov, Wellington Turman, which is interesting. Back-to-back weeks where I'm like really questioning the co-main event. Like last week it was Dawkins, Jamie Pickett. This week Cirkunov, Turman. So, oh well, should be a good fight. We have Misha Cirkunov, who is 34 years old, 6'3", with a 77-inch reach, 15-7 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. And then Wellington Turman, he is 25 years old, 6 foot with a 72-inch reach, 17-5 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. All right, so we'll take a look at the odds here. And Cirkunov opened up -190, currently -126. Turman opened up +165, and he is currently +106. So I do want to talk about some stats on this fight as well, as I do think they're very important. And then I do want to get into the careers a little bit of both guys in terms of the UFC. So first of all, the tail of tape, Cirkunov much bigger. This guy's 9 years older, but he's going to be 3 inches taller, and he's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. This is Cirkunov, who has fought most of his career at light heavyweight, and then he came down to middleweight in his last fight against Krzysztof Jotko. And I was like, how is this guy going to make middleweight? But he did. He made weight. He looked good. And then he looked pretty solid in that fight as well in terms of, his cardio being able to hold up and all that. We'll talk more about that Jotko fight in a little bit. But, regardless, Cirkunov's going to be the bigger fighter. We'll take a look at the striking numbers here. In terms of who is the better striker in this fight? And I gotta go with Turman, I guess, but Cirkunov's probably going to throw more volume. It's just Cirkunov's striking is just like really weird and awkward, but he's going to be the higher volume fighter in this fight. He does land 3.77 significant strikes per minute with a 49% accuracy, and then Cirkunov's absorbing 3.08 significant strikes with a positive 0.69 significant strike differential and a 59% striking defense. So the striking numbers for Cirkunov are actually good, and in his fight against Krzysztof Jotko, surprisingly, they both landed 41 strikes. So, watching that fight live, it looked like Jotko was really getting the best of him on the feet, and he was. But, the strike totals were like dead even, 41 apiece. Wellington Turman is low volume, lands 3.04 significant strikes per minute with a 47% accuracy, and he does absorb a 3.96 significant strikes per minute. So Wellington Turman actually has a negative 0.92 significant strike differential and a 43% striking defense. That is not good. And Wellington Turman's last fight against Sam Alvey, in a fight where he lost 2 points, and the dude almost lost. In the first round, Wellington Turman outlands Alvey 13-8, but in the second and third round, he actually gets outlanded by Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey outlands him 26-24 in the second round. In the third round, Alvey outlands him 34-32 in the third round. Sam Alvey. So on the feet, I think, like I said, the better striker in terms of striking skills is probably Turman, but I do like the volume of Cirkunov. I like the striking defense of Cirkunov, whereas Turman, he is very, very hittable. But this is where I think the fight's going to get interesting. It's the grappling. So Cirkunov does land 4.48 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 44% accuracy. Very good numbers there, and a 70% takedown defense, whereas Turman lands about 2 takedowns per 15 minutes, only a 22% accuracy, and Turman has a 100% takedown defense. But if you look into that 100% takedown defense a little bit more, you can see that nobody's really trying to take him down. Only 4 takedowns defended for Wellington Turman, and I believe like one of those came in like the Bruno Silva fight. One came in like the Andrew Sanchez fight. I think like 2 in the Perez fight. But nobody's really tried to take this guy down yet. I think that's going to change here against Cirkunov. I've heard a lot of people say that Cirkunov is chinny, and I can agree to that. But you take a look at who he's getting knocked out by. Legit light heavyweights. Volkan Oezdemir knocked him out. He hits pretty hard. Glover Teixeira knocked him out. He hits pretty hard. Johnny Walker knocked him out with a flying knee. That guy hits pretty hard. And then also Ryan Spann knocked him out. He hits really hard. So he's getting knocked out, yeah, a lot. But he's getting knocked out by Ryan Spann, Johnny Walker, Volkan Oezdemir, and Glover Teixeira. I think all those guys would knock out Wellington Turman in 20 seconds. So you take a look at Wellington Turman, I think he's chinny as well. And he got knocked out by Andrew Sanchez, who is not a finisher. This guy, Andrew Sanchez, is a decisionator, and Sanchez starched him in a round. And then he got knocked out by Bruno Silva, with grounded pounds. So I think both chins are a concern, but I'm kind of more worried about the chin of Wellington Turman. Cirkunov, very good wrestler. Cirkunov, very good grappler. This guy has submitted legit guys. It's not easy to go out there and submit Jimmy Crute. Got that Peruvian necktie. I think he's the first person to ever submit Patrick Cummings with an arm triangle. He submitted Nikita Krylov. Like, he's submitting legit guys in the light heavyweight division. And on Ion Kudalaba as well. And then on top, this guy's a problem. He can get into dominant positions, great ground and pound. And I just don't like what I see from Wellington Turman off his back. And we got to see that against Carl Roberson, where Roberson was actually out grappling Wellington Turman. It was insane. Carl Roberson, the guy that everybody submits, Roberson has like 5 submission losses. Roberson was actually reversing Wellington Turman. Roberson reversed him 3 times, and Roberson was able to control Wellington Turman for about 5 minutes of that fight. If Roberson is out grappling you, what is Misha Cirkunov going to do? I think it's a good spot for Cirkunov. Like, on the feet, I think it's close, competitive, but I like the strike and defense of Cirkunov. I like the volume of Cirkunov, and I think if his gas tank can hold up here, he can either win a decision with takedowns close on the feet, or if he gets his fight down to the mat, I really feel like he can win this fight inside the distance, whether it's a TKO or potentially even a submission. So I like Cirkunov here, and I like him quite a bit. I just don't like Turman in this matchup. I mean, what is Turman's path to victory here? It's probably stuffing the takedowns, keeping it on the feet, and maybe outstriking Cirkunov for 15 minutes, which it could happen, I guess, but he barely was able to do that against Sam Alvey. So, yeah, I like Cirkunov here. Give me Cirkunov to win. I can see so many paths to victory. I'm gonna say like a first round TKO for Cirkunov, but I can see a submission. I can see a decision. But regardless, I do like Cirkunov to win this fight. All right, next we have the main event. And we have Islam Makhachev going against Bobby Green. Bobby Green stepping in on short notice. Props to him. You know, I didn't think anybody would step in against Islam Makhachev on short notice, but Bobby Green did. And he just fought a couple weeks ago, looked phenomenal against Nasrat Haqparast, but this is definitely a completely different matchup. We will start with Islam Makhachev here. We have Makhachev, who is 30 years old, 5'10", with a 70.5-inch reach, 21-1. And 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Bobby Green, 35 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach, 29-12-1, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and obviously Makhachev is the biggest favorite on the card. He is currently sitting at minus 700. Bobby Green is currently sitting at plus 450. So I guess we could talk a little bit about the stat. I guess the one thing I do want to bring up is the stats for Makhachev here. So we can put it this way. On the feet, it's Bobby Green all day. Bobby Green's volume is phenomenal. Lands 6 significant strikes per minute. We saw it in his fight against Haqparast, who Haqparast is a very good striking defense, and it didn't matter with Bobby Green. Bobby Green landed like 190 significant strikes, something crazy like that against Haqparast. But what I want to look into is Makhachev's career in the UFC in terms of guys, landing punches on him. So Makhachev has absorbed 0.79 significant strikes per minute. He's absorbing less than a strike per minute, and he has a 70% striking defense. You want to know how much the most significant strikes an opponent has landed on Makhachev in his UFC career? The answer to that is 13. The most strikes an opponent has landed is 13. Nick Lentz lands 13 significant strikes in a 3-round fight. It goes all 15 minutes, and the dude lands 13 strikes. Arman Tsarukyan in a 3-round fight that goes 15 minutes lands only 13 strikes. Thiago Moises in a fight that goes into the 4th round in a 5-round fight lands only 13 strikes. Nobody has landed more than 13 strikes. You want to know why? Because Makhachev is very good, obviously, at taking people down, controlling him, and even on the feet, like he's been on the feet against his opponents for 40% of the time. 60% of his fights do play in a control time position, but even on the feet, like I think his opponents are so scared to throw volume because he's going to get taken down eventually, and kind of stifles the volume of his opponents. But this is a fight where it's clear as day. Makhachev's going to want to get this fight down to the mat. He's not an idiot. He has very good fight IQ. He has very good cardio to keep up what he's going to want to do in this fight. Bobby Green has not fought a wrestler or a grappler anywhere near the caliber of Islam Makhachev in his entire career, and it's really not even close. There's really not even a close second here. So it's going to be a big test for Bobby Green, who, on paper, 72% takedown defense, but you take a look, and Thiago Moises takes him down twice. Alan Patrick takes him down. Lando Venata takes him down a lot in both fights. Clay Guida takes him down 3 times. Francisco Trinaldo takes him down. Like, he can be taken down, and taken down quite a bit. So the difference between those guys and Makhachev is Makhachev, if he does get you down, you're not getting up. This guy's control is very good. And on top of that, he's kind of position over submission. He'll take his time. He's not going to rush anything. And I think it's obviously a solid spot for Makhachev. It's no hot take from me or anything. I know a lot of people are picking Bobby Green and betting Bobby Green, but I just don't really see how he's going to win this fight. Again, people have not been successful in terms of stuffing the takedowns, keeping on the feet, landing on Makhachev. I don't think that really changes here, and Bobby Green can definitely be taken down. And I think if Makhachev does get Bobby Green down, he's going to either A, control him for the rest of the round, or B, even submit Bobby Green at some point. So I think Bobby Green's path to victory is a knockout, and if you are relying on a Bobby Green knockout, I think you're going to be pretty disappointed because he's only knocked out one guy in like the last 10 years, and it was that real estate agent in Alaya Quinta in a fight that he wasn't prepared for. Prior to that, Bobby Green's last knockout win was back in 2013 against one James Krause, which wasn't really a knockout. And then his last submission win, if somebody thinks he can submit Makhachev, which I don't think so, his last submission win was back in 2013 of February against Jacob Volkman. So is Bobby Green going to win a decision? I just don't see it. I just don't think he's going to be able to keep it on the feet for long enough. But honestly, like, props to Bobby Green. That's awesome stepping in on short notice. He has my respect. He should have everybody's respect, but this is a horrible, horrible matchup, not only in general, but on short note. Like, it's terrible. Terrible matchup. So I got Makhachev. No hot take, but I think he gets it done, and I will not be betting on Bobby Green like a lot of people seem to be doing, but I can tell you I will also not be betting on Makhachev at minus 700. But I do think the line is about accurate there, to be honest. So going to take Makhachev to win. I'll take him to win by submission at some point in this fight. But yeah, glad Bobby Green stepped in and saved the main event. Shout out to him. All right, guys, that is about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys can leave a like on your way out, subscribe to the channel, trying to get 15K subs, hopefully by my birthday, which is in June. That's the plan. That's the goal. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com. No bets yet. I'm waiting for some props to drop. I'm looking at 2 potential moneyline bets that I might be looking at placing very soon, so check those out. Full card breakdown and best bet article will be out on Wednesday, and just content all throughout the week. So if you want more content, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. I think we're almost close to that 150 member mark within a month or so of releasing the website. So appreciate all you hanging out. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by numbers. I've been posting a lot of content on there as well. And good luck. Let's make some money at UFC Vegas 49. We'll talk to you soon.